Alright, so in this video, we're going to create the third variant, which is the wafer. So this is what we're going to create in the video. And we're also going to make some chocolate chips. So essentially, we're going to have to readjust a little bit because what I want is, for the first one, the chocolate cake, I want like the base to be chocolate and then I want like chocolate chips. So we'll adjust our variant values accordingly, like once this lesson is done. Okay, so to get started, this is fairly simple, like this is not going to be too complex. We're going to make a helix again. Okay, so let's just take a line. So I'll take a line here and I will give it some points. So I'll make the length about 4. So I'll make a fairly tall one. And what I can do is, if you want the number of points to be, to keep increasing as you increase the length, we can do a simple sort of multiplication. Okay, so I can do a copy parameter, put it into points, so paste relative reference, multiplied by say 30. Okay, so for every time the line increases, you'll see like the points keep increasing. So it's 4 into 30, so we have 120 points. Now let's take an add. So we'll take an add here and I'll create 1 point, take a transform and just push it out just a little bit, and then take a copy stamp, okay, and we'll multiply by 20. Okay, so we'll do 20 into at pt num. So every point number gets multiplied by 20. So there you go. So you have this, and you can make it slightly thinner if you want. Okay. Now take an add and convert this into or actually you don't need to. Like we can convert this into a curve if you want, but it's not really needed. Okay, what I want to do instead is I want to just sort of sweep a line along it. So I'll take a line and we'll do a copy stamp again and just plug in a line. So it's straight like that. This is also a nice way to do like a chandelier if you want. Okay, and we'll just sort of lower the value and then just take a skin. So a skin will just do this for you, and then I can take a poly extrude and give it some thickness. So nothing, not too complicated, just give it some thickness, yeah, and generate the the output back, yeah, and then we can just subdivide it a little bit. So just take a subdivide. Yeah, let's do one thing. Let's take this line and give it a couple of points in the middle. Let's take 4. Yeah, okay. Okay, so this is good. Now what I want is, I want the top and bottom to be flat, right? Like, because you don't want it to be open like this. So what I can do is I can take this line and we can create a group here. So we'll take a group, take a group by range and we'll just call it ends. Let's take the top and bottom points and we'll do invert range. Then take a box. So we'll use the box for doing some boolean. Okay. And we'll do copy to points. We'll call this as ends and we'll plug in the box. Okay. So what you should get is, I want to cut the top and bottom. So just bring this down and take a boolean. So take a boolean subtract and let's take this and that and see, so you get this. But of course you can just define like how much you want to cut it. So just squeeze it down a little bit like that. Yeah, you can't squeeze it too much because it'll just eat up the rest of the stuff. But yeah, I think this is okay. Okay, so now that you've done this much, now let's build the other side. So we can just take a transform and just rotate it till you get the other side, like that. So I think 180, let's try 180. Yeah, there you go. And if we merge these two together, you get the basic wafer. See, there you go. And then we can color them. So I can take a color here And let's make this, I don't know, let's make it pink or something. And let's take this guy and we'll make it like a light blue, whatever. Yeah, so there you go. So you have a wafer. Okay, now as a final thing, I'm going to take a transform and bring it to the center. So I can just take a transform here and we can do minus $CEY. So that will get it to the center. And we'll call this center. And so this you can, so then we can start to place it. Okay, so then I can take another transform and I can just sort of, rotate it a little bit like that. Just check the size again of the icing. Yeah, okay. So make it really tiny. So just take a transform, before our spin and we'll scale it down. Yeah, I think that's okay. We can probably make the line a little longer, just to sort of, yeah, I think that's okay. Yeah, and then, get the variant here. So Control C, Control V and bring it in and make this 2. And then we'll just plug this into the switch for now. By the end of this video, I will set it up to, the copy to points because that will, make a whole lot more sense. But let's just bring this back here and see what we have. So we have this and then I can just come to this switch and get it to 3 and there you go. See, so you have, this little guy over here. Okay, so the only thing left now is to make the chocolate chips. Okay, so what I'm going to do is let's come back here where we have our toppings and I'm going to duplicate this. So just take all of this and do Alt and drag. So what we need to do is we just need to modify the sphere. So let's come in here and I'm going to change this to polygon mesh and let's make this 0.1 as well. Let's make it slightly big. So we'll get it, and also maybe a few more. Yeah, okay. So the first thing is we want to define like the basic shape of it. So I'm going to just take this and we'll take a group by expression. So take a group expression. We'll call it base and I'm going to select everything below the y-axis. So we'll do at p.y less than 0. So there you go. Okay, then I'm going to take a wrangle and make it flat. So let's take an attribute wrangle and we'll do at p.y is equal to 0. So it'll just flatten everything, but we only want to affect base. So you'll be able to flatten out the base like this. Lastly, we take a taper and point it in the y direction. So come to the capture direction, make it 1 in the y-axis. Just lower the length and a lot more. Okay, and then just take the squish and do this. So, and we can also take the capture origin and move it down a little bit. And yeah, there you go. See, so you have a nice little sort of a chocolate chip. And then I can just give it a slight bit of smooth. So just take a smooth and just smoothen it a bit. See, so that is perfect. Okay, and then if we come to our copy to points, I want to change the color. So naturally we don't want these. We want them to be, like chocolate chips. So let's just make it, like different shades of brown. Yeah, so I'll just right click and copy parameter. I think that this should be darker. Yeah, so about there is okay. So right click, copy parameter and paste values and paste values. And just adjust the shades a little bit. So slightly brighter and slightly brighter still. Yeah, so if you zoom out, see, you basically have that, except just make them smaller Okay, so we'll just take this and make it small. Yeah, and maybe also take a randomize. So we'll take an attribute randomize here at the point level, and we'll put in orient. So you get like, random rotation, except make everything -1 instead of 0. So you'll get this, and then we can just increase the scatter amount a little bit. Yeah, I think this is good. And then the variant value shall be 2. And just bring it in. Okay, now we've done everything that we need to make. So now what we want to do is, like, instead of a switch, we're just going to do a merge. And we're going to separate everything out once we do a copy. So we're going to take 3 points. We're going to copy the cake on each point. And then based on the index values or the variant value that we have given, we will get 3 separate cakes. So what I need to change is the first cake will be chocolate. So I think this should be 0. This should be 1. And then let's make this as 2. And same thing up here. So this should be 0, which is the Ferrero. This is 1 and that is 2, which is good. Let's come down here. Again, so just change this as well. Make it a merge. And get rid of the switch. So, yeah. And then here again, this is the first icing. So let's make this as 2. And then this, this should be 0, which should be for the chocolate. I can just adjust this a little bit, make it, yeah. And then this, so this is 2 and this is 0, so this should be 1. And then again, just take a merge here. So get rid of the switch, and then, yeah, the merge order doesn't matter anymore because the variant number should take care of everything for us. Okay. So we have a merge everywhere except for here. So here again, we'll change it. So 1, 2, and 3. Bring this in, and here, yeah, let just one of them go in, like that's okay. Okay, so if we look at it, we should get, something like that, which looks like a mess. Okay, which actually doesn't look bad, but fine, like this is what we have. So now what we want to do is, let's hope all of this works. So I'm going to take an add, and I'm going to create 3 points. They're all going to be in the same location. So 1, 2, and 3. So I have, 3 points. And then take a wrangle. And I'll do I at variant is equal to at ptnum. So it will be like 0, 1, and 2, which are basically the same variant numbers that we have. And then we take a copy to points. I'm going to just save this file. All right, so before we connect this, let's do one more thing, because we'll need 3 of the paper as well, right? We only have 1 paper. So we'll just duplicate the variant node. So I'll do Control-C, Control-V, and I won't do anything. I'll just create a 1, 2, 3 and just merge it in, right? So I'll just create like 0 and 1 and 2 and just merge them together. Yeah, and put this in. Okay, and let's do one more thing. Instead of an add, let's take a line, so that you can see it form. Okay, so we'll just take a line in the x-axis, make it relatively long, and 3 points. So this comes in here, and in the copy to points, we'll turn on the piece attribute. Okay, so just turn on piece attribute variant, or if you've called it anything else, you can just type in that value over here. Okay, and then just plug this in. It'll take a few seconds to copy because it has to sort everything out and give it accordingly. But yeah, let's give it a few seconds. Yeah, so there you go. See, if you look at it now, you have our 3 different cakes. So now the question that comes up is, how do we separate them? Okay, because that's important, right? So what we can do is we can use the variant number to separate the whole thing. Okay, so I can just take a group by expression and let's see if this works. Okay, so we'll take a group by expression. I'll do cake A. We're going to select points because it's on points. We'll do at variant equal to 0, which should give me this. And I'll do a plus. We'll do cake B is control C, control V. This is equal to 1. And then the last one, we'll do cake C and equal to 2. Yeah. And then we can just take a blast. We can take 3 of them. Do delete non-selected. Let's do cake A. Yeah. Okay, so we'll call this, or actually no, let's just call it whatever it is. We'll put a null at the end. So this will be cake B and this will be cake C. Yeah, there we go. So we have separated all 3, and then we can just take a null and we can bring them out. So we'll call this cake A and then cake B and cake C. Okay, and as a final thing, they're all separate, right? Technically they should all be in the same location. So I'll just take the line and I'll make the length 0, or we can take the add back, like this thing, we can take it back, or okay, let's just do this. Let's take the length and make it 0. So it'll again take a few seconds to copy because, the location has been changed. But yeah, there we go. So we have our 3 cakes. So if I look at this, see, so the first cake and the second one and the third one. Okay, so now that this is done, the next thing we need to do is we need to build a box for the cake. Okay, so inside which then we can scatter everything. So in the next lesson, we'll make the box and then we'll start with the lighting, shading and rendering. Let's also do one more thing before I close this. I'm going to take a group delete and let's see what all we need to delete. Okay, because we'll probably need to delete a fair bit. Yeah, so let's get rid of density, let's get rid of surface and ends and T, all of these sort of groups that we have. Yeah, we want these. So base, cake, icing, paper and sprinkles, that we need. So if we click here, yeah, we have all of this stuff. So we have our primitive groups in place, which is basically what we want. And then also take a group delete here and yeah, let's just say point groups and we'll do star. So all the point groups are gone. So control C, control V and just like get rid of everything that is unnecessary. Yeah, so we should just have our, geometry groups that we want. Yeah, so there you go. So this is everything that we want. Alright, so as I said, in the next video, we'll make the cake box and then we'll start doing the lighting and rendering.